that perspective. But what I want to understand is the question that Miran Chadda Borwankar has raised, that why should they have got remission at all? On the other hand, there will be the likes of Mr. Malhotra who will say, look, 15 years have been served. What will you tell those who will say, look, they've served their punishment, it's time for closure?
Rajdeep, they have, this is a case where a pregnant woman has been gang raped. Her mother in front of her eyes gang raped and murdered. Her firstborn child brutally murdered. 14 members. All familial network has been completely erased. How come 14 years would be, 14 years imprisonment would be justifiable, would be enough, would be something someone say they have served 14 years. If a person murders only one person, he would have to undergo minimum 14 years. A case like this, when they had shown no sign of humanity, they crossed. Like I have done this matter for 20 years. Still, I am short of expression to express how barbaric the crime is. You add all the possible terms of barbarism, inhuman, egregious, club all of that, and that crime is even not sufficiently expressed. This is a case where remission, as Vrindaman said, they have a right to ask for. But this is not a case where the remission should travel to them. And that's why all stakeholders said no. That's why all stakeholders... Yeah, you're saying something.
No, you're saying all the stakeholders therefore thought that this was a crime that deserved the maximum punishment, which was life, which means life and not remission. Am I correct? That you believe that therefore there was no question of remission, especially as these were powerful people, influential people who had been repeatedly granted parole. Am I correct?
Rajdeep, forget. Assume they are not powerful. But the point is, what message you are sending to the society, what message you are sending to each citizen in the country, that how do they feel safe? If people who commit such kind of barbaric crime and can come out like any other murderer, had it been a simple gunshot murder, the convict would have come out after 14 years saying, you please consider me for remission. Now, consideration, asking for consideration and to be granted are two different things. What are the considerations? How would you really justify granting them or giving them the same treatment which would have meted out to a person who would have committed a very simple single murder? How are you justifying somebody?
I take your point.
Is justifying.
I take your point, Ms. Gupta, and I just for a moment want to take that to Mr. Malhotra, because Mr. Malhotra, you have been arguing in the past on my shows that they had done their 15 years. The fact is, Mr. Malhotra, they may have done their 15 years, but they had repeatedly got parole. They were extremely powerful and influential. They were obviously people who had connections with the government in Gujarat, and it would seem that the Union Home Ministry also concurred with the Gujarat government on them. The crime itself was as heinous as it can get. Gang rape and murder. Cold-blooded murder. Now, can that be, Mr. Malhotra, reason enough to give remission in such cases?
You see, please do not forget, even today's judgment of Supreme Court has recognized that they have a right of remission. Only thing which they have varied is that instead of approaching the Gujarat government, they need to approach the Maharashtra government. So remission has never been snatched by either of the Supreme Court judgment, number one. And I have been telling in your channel and again different channels that once the policy stipulates, which is a 92 policy at that time in Gujarat, which stipulates that for consideration of remission, there are twin conditions. One is they must serve actual 14 years, and they must have a good conduct in the jail. So post-jail conduct, if they have been garlanded or if they have been victorious enough to show these signs and all that, that is not the material for consideration for remission. If they have a good conduct, which the jail authorities have certified in this case, all the files were before the Supreme Court, all the original data was before the Supreme Court, they have been granted good conduct by jail authorities for overall 15 years. That was the requirement under the 92 policy. And therefore, I said, once the Supreme Court has held in 2022 that a policy of Gujarat has to be applied, today we have two judgments now of Supreme Court, one saying Maharashtra, one saying Gujarat. Supreme Court say that...
Yes, but Mr. Malhotra, Mr. Malhotra, look at the way the Gujarat government then goes ahead and sets up a committee consisting of BJP MLAs, consisting of BJP members. When you know that many of these,
Just a minute.
Many of these MLAs have links to the are alleged. No,
just a minute. That's only
a 10-member committee, Mr. Malhotra, is set up. That committee. The fact is, when a committee is set up to look at remission, it should be an independent committee. It should be an independent committee. It should not be a committee which already has a preconceived notion that these are sanskari Brahmins. I mean, that's the problem. You can't have a committee which is, it almost seems as if the entire process is rigged. Miran Chadda Borvankar, you asked the question, why should they have been granted remission? My point is, everyone is entitled to apply for remission. It's the manner in which government committees are set up to either slant the verdict one way or the other, which is where my problem is. Would you agree with that?
No, let me interject. Just see the judgment of 280 odd pages, not a single line on this aspect at all casted by Supreme Court. It's all media speculation that MLAs and advisory committee consist of partition stakeholders. Not a single line doubted by Supreme Court in its entire judgment today.
Okay, so I am raising that question. The Supreme Court has called it just a minute, sir. Supreme Court has called it an act of fraud. Right, but Miran Chadda Borvankar, is that part of the problem? That the state itself could be hugely partisan in cases like this, and that's why public confidence and faith in the law is diminished.
Absolutely. So states, instead of following the rule of law, are being out and out doing favoritism, as we can see in the over-enthusiastic response of the state of Gujarat. But my point is that a convict may have and indeed has a right to seek remission. But the government, while granting remission, should appreciate the gravity of the offense, which I feel in this particular case was so heinous, so serious, so grave, that remission should not have been granted, one. And if 1992 policy of Gujarat says that remission can be granted in such cases also, then the policy needs to be thrown away. New policy should be drafted. Otherwise, women are definitely not safe. And if Delhi gives death penalty in Nirbhaya case, then why we are being so soft in this particular case? That is also my question.
Well, that is a question that obviously is a question that should haunt many people out there. Premila Nasargi, let me give you a comment there. Would you agree with what Miran Chadda Borvankar said? When there is public fury and people say Nirbhaya's killer and Nirbhaya's rapists and killers must get death penalty, and that's what they get because the entire country is agitated. But it doesn't happen with Bilkis Bano, a hapless woman in a village of Gujarat. Would you agree that the law must be the same for all? Every Indian has equal right. It cannot be that a gang rape in Delhi results in the death penalty, but one in Gujarat does not.
I agree with you. What we want is justice according to law. You can't go in a highway. We are not in the Banana Republic. We have a law and rule and regulations. We are bound by it. We are bound by the rules framed. if you are aggrieved by the rules, ask the parliament to change the rules. Ask the state government to change the rules. So long as the rules are there, so long as the Gujarat government has got the power of remission, so long as the rule stays, unless it's changed, they have to act according to law. You see, the criminal jurisprudence, we have a reformative theory and also retributive theory. Which you want? Don't you want your citizens to reform? You do not want them to reform in the society.
So you're
You
going to
want
garland
them to die
convicts.
as criminals only.
So
You
reform,
must give a
how,
party.
so you reform
Retributive.
society,
See,
Miss
but
Nesargi, Miss
rule is
Nesar,
there.
just a
Every
minute.
accused.
Miss Nesargi,
Every
no one reforms society by garlanding rape convicts. A society doesn't get reformed by garlanding rape convicts. Let's be very clear about that. There is no place in a civilized society
See, the garland.
for rape
garlanding-
convicts and murderers to be garlanded
civilized
because they are
society
politically
is-
aligned.
Every day we
I
see
hope
from
you
the
recognize
jail
that and
political
appreciate what I'm
persons
saying.
who are arrested and they are brought out. They are doing it. You see that. See, the law must be. You do make a law. The convict who come out of the jail should not be garlanded. It should be treated as an offence. It is not material. It's
Okay.
even tell them the family members, the kith and kin,
Let me-
friends. They just want to garland. Who are you to prevent it? Who are you to prevent it? Have you any right to prevent it? Is there any law that's prohibits
I am no one.
garlanding?
I am no one.
It's
I am not a
it is
politically
good.
influential
It's not-
person.
it's not good. I agree with you. See, it
Okay.
may not be good. It may not be good
Okay,
for you and others.
okay.
But
Can I-
it may be good for others.
Can I just bring- ma'am-
Bentham's theory. One man's good
Okay,
is another
this
man's
was
bad.
not, let's be honest, producer,
Tell me.
but, okay, I'm running out of time. All I want to say is that for the longest time, the Supreme Court has been, in recent times certainly, been questioned for not exercising enough moral power, for not restoring the faith of citizens that justice is equal for all. Whether you're a Bilkis Bano or whether you're a Nirbhaya or indeed any woman who is gang raped and sees family members, in this case, being murdered before her eyes. Equality before the law. Free of any political bias or partisanship. Simply because you have power in a Gandhinagar or in Delhi, that cannot be reason to grant remission. Remission must be purely on the facts of the case and must be equal for all. That's the principle in a way that the Supreme Court has enunciated today and hopefully restored some faith in the rule of law. I thank my guests for joining me. When I return, we'll turn to the Maldives, where remember, India continues to find itself in the crosshairs of a diplomatic tangle with Mali. More of that on the other side. You're watching the news today, where we raise the questions that need to be raised. Back in a moment.
Pure Wash Electronic Seat by Kohler. Wish everything was this intelligent.
To our other top story tonight, where the battle between India and the Maldives seems to be escalating now into a full-blown diplomatic fight. Today, the Ministry of External Affairs summoned the Maldivian High Commissioner to India, and there were meetings that were held in Malé too between the two sides. All of this follows disparaging comments made by Maldivian ministers since dismissed about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and a fight of sorts being created between India's desire that Lakshadweep be developed as a tourist destination and what appears to be a Maldivian overreaction. Take a look.
Pristine islands transformed into a diplomatic battleground. Controversial remarks from 3 Maldivian ministers responding to Prime Minister Modi's tourism promotion in Lakshadweep sparked a major outcry. India, a significant source of tourism driving the Maldivian economy, strongly protested. On Sunday, the president of the island nation, Mohammad Muizzu, suspended the 3 ministers. Relations between India and the Maldives have strained since President Mohammad Muizzu took office in November. Perceived as leaning towards China, the new Maldivian president deviated from tradition, opting for China on his inaugural state visit, contrary to the usual choice of India by past Maldivian leaders. From ordinary Indians to celebrities, the suspension of the 3 Maldivian ministers left many dissatisfied. Social media buzzed with posts favoring Lakshadweep over the Maldives.
मालदीव है तो लक्षद्वीप भी है, बहुत नज़दीक है, अंडमान्स भी है और हिमालय की ऊंचाई भी है और हिमाचल प्रदेश से लेकर लेह लद्दाख भी है. तो भारत में तो विशाल हृदय वाला भी है और विशाल सोच वाला स्थान भी है.
India summoned Maldivian envoy Ibrahim Shahib to express its displeasure. In Malé, Indian High Commissioner to the Maldives, Munu Mahavar, had a pre-arranged meeting with the Maldivian Foreign Ministry.
मोदी जी के वक्त, एनडीए के वक्त, बीजेपी के वक्त प्रधानमंत्री का इन्फ्लुएंस पाकिस्तान घुटनों पे है, चाइना घुटनों पे है और मलेशिया, मालदीव को अपने 3 मंत्रियों को सस्पेंड करना पड़ा. इसको कहते हैं मोदी जी की ताकत, भारत की ताकत, 140 करोड़ लोगों की एकजुटता की ताकत, जो कांग्रेस को कभी समझ में नहीं आएगी.
लक्षद्वीप की सुंदरता को,
with the Prime Minister himself becoming the brand ambassador for Lakshadweep, an endorsement from some of India's top celebrities. The Maldives' pro-Chinese government may have valid concerns about potential repercussions from losing the largest group of Indian visitors. Bureau Report, India Today.
Maldives versus India. Let's from there turn to our good news today story. And our good news comes from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in the national capital, which has just launched its smart lab that's aimed to make the treatment of patients easier. Smart Lab is an end-to-end automated platform with patients can now get their test report the same day. Take a look at our good news story.
No more long queues, no more long wait. India gets its first smart lab. Patients at AIIMS Delhi can now get their test report on the same day. This smart lab is capable of conducting 90,000 tests in a day with the help of artificial intelligence. The AIIMS Smart Lab is open for patients 24/7. Covering various aspects of testing, this smart lab is paperless and automated.
This smart lab is a total lab automation platform. So total lab automation platform मतलब it's a robotic lab. इसमें बहुत सारे चीज़ें robots के द्वारा किया जाता है. So automated decapper, automated centrifugation, aliquoting, then sample transport on the track. ये सब automation के द्वारा होती है. And it's not only a total lab automation, it's also integration of automation where different kind of services like hematology, biochemistry, immunoassays, hormones, serology, coagulation, all are brought together under one platform, under one roof.
Boosting testing speed and accuracy, the Smart Lab aims to make hospital visits a better experience for patients. With Anamika Gaur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, just about enough time to leave you with our images of the day, which is from Ayodhya, where the Ram Lalla consecration is on in full swing. Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Temple Trust sharing these stunning new images of the Ram Mandir, giving a sneak peek into the nighttime view of the temple premises. The Garbhagriha is also ready in all its glory for the consecration that takes place on the 22nd. I leave you with those images. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Scan the QR code. Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Scan the QR code.